Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Cancer is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And a Two of Wands. This is a card of control. Okay? This is a card of us wanting to make decisions. We want things done our way. You know, I think you're somebody who is feeling very assertive. Yeah? And I feel like you're standing up for yourself. And I feel like you are advocating for yourself. And I feel like we're trying to exert some kind of influence in our lives somewhere. Now, it might be that you're kind of like butting heads with someone at work or a family member, or just feeling as if you're butting heads with life a little bit, you know. This is Mars in Aries, this card. And so it does feel like we're kind of like we're trying to push in somewhere. We're kind of we're feeling our power, and we're feeling that we can't just let someone else steamroll over us. We can't let life, we can't let the universe just sort of sweep us away in the current. That we've got to push back a little bit, you know. Let's see what's going on here. A little bit of context. There we've got the Hierophant. Okay. We have a Seven of Swords, Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups, beautiful, and a Ten of Swords. A Ten of Swords. Okay. Four of Wands. There's the Chariot. I almost fumbled that card. That's interesting too. That's the Chariot. That is your superpower card. And I kind of fumbled that a little bit. And that's interesting because I kind of feel like we're trying to be in the best version of ourselves, but we're still a little bit insecure. We're still a little bit nervous about how this works, like driving our own car, you know. And so I feel that you are like, you're trying to go your own way. You're resisting something. You're trying not to conform. The Hierophant here, to me, feels like you're trying to transcend, and maybe that's the difference here, is that this isn't about like overcoming the conformity or the tradition or the learning or the world around you that's trying to get you to conform to it. It's not about pushing back against this or breaking away from this. It's about accepting this, but then building up on it. You know what I mean? Transcending it. Evolving past this. Not necessarily having to fight against this or say, I don't want to be part of this. You know. Anyway, we'll get there. We have the Chariot. We have a Prince of Swords. And you have a Princess of Wands here. Very, very strong, very excited, very passionate energy here. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown, and we're going to set it down right here with Tiny Bob Ross right on top. Happy little Bob. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments right below the video, okay? The more we do it, the better we'll get. We have to practice our intuition, okay? Let's make it a group exercise, all right? Well, let's look around the room because we kind of see a battle going on between the Hierophant and the Chariot. Okay? You are the chariot, obviously, Cancer. You're trying to go your own way. You've got a determination. You've got a will of your own. You've got a path that you're trying to follow, a road that you're trying to drive down, the spiral road, right? The Hierophant is kind of representing a life that is predetermined, a life that is prescribed. Someone or something telling you who you should be, what you should feel and think, where you should go, what you should eat. That kind of feels like our world right now, you know? It feels like everywhere we go, every place we look, everything on the internet, something is trying to tell us what we should do, what we should think, how we should feel, trying to tell us what's what. What's the truth? What are the facts? What is reality? What is sacred and what's not? You know, what's good and what's not? I feel like you're breaking away from some kind of a paradigm. It feels like a paradigm shift here. It feels like there is this energy that's trying to contain you. It feels like a bird cage. 10 of Swords. It feels like you're getting out of the bird cage. Is what I got that strong feeling here. But we have the two majors anyway. Feels like there's a battle there. And that's of course, fire, fire, fire. Water. That's what we want. Water. Air, 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 air. No earth. Actually, if there is any earth, it's in Taurus here with the Hierophant. It's a Taurus energy. It's earth. So the only earth is that earth that's trying to contain you. It's trying to tell you what is real and what is solid, and I think that you're trying to transcend that. You're trying to get out of that bird cage. And I think really what's going on is that you're trying to get away from other systems or other authorities, right? Telling you what to believe. Okay, telling you what are the facts, telling you which way to go. And instead you're trying to rely on your heart. You're trying to say, I don't care what I don't care about what you're telling me. I want to know what I feel. So I think that this is, a lot of air. You're being kind of cradled by this air energy. The swords here acting as like a wire basket, just kind of holding you, right? And it's the cage. It's the cage of everything that you've been taught, or everything that, and it may be a Taurus person in your life. This could be a family member. It could be just an institution of life. Even it could be the entire internet. I don't know, trying to tell you what to believe. And you're trying to transcend that, and you're trying to go up here with your feelings. You're trying to get in touch with how you feel about things, or trying to get in touch with your true values. This is what you've been taught, and this is what the Hierophant keeps teaching you. But these are your values. And your values are rising above the story that we've been told, or the textbook that we've been reading. Now, of course, this is all very necessary energy. You need to read the textbook. But then it's your duty to climb up here and to chase your dream, or to transcend the Hierophant. It's kind of like you're standing on the shoulders of giants here, and you're going to go after what you care about. This may be a good foundation, though. But it's not going to be good to stay here. Staying here is just us being kind of, being restricted. It's us being contained in this part of a system where what you're trying to do is perhaps innovate. Okay? Trying to pursue your own dream here. It's kind of, you got to learn the technique before you can start improvising and really writing your own songs and really getting good at that sort of thing, yeah? So I like the cards we have here anyway, but let's start with our Two of Wands, because this is the battle. It's two strong wills that are pushing against each other, okay? And this is a struggle for control. This is a struggle for choice. And it feels like you're kind of at odds with something. You're at odds with an institution. You're at odds with a friend, a family member, a teacher, a boss, a coworker, something like this. And you're trying to regain control of your life, and you're trying to take the wheel of your car. It may be that there are other people, or maybe one particular person in your life that's trying to steer your life for you. You're done letting anyone else steer your life for you, or steer the situation, okay? Or you're done letting anyone else tell you what to believe, or what to feel, or what to think. This could be a partner. This could be, it could be just an institution. Okay, you're growing in your confidence. Yeah, and I think that you're maturing because you're recognizing that no one is going to come and sort of, save you from this, rescue you from this. And no one's going to pull you out of this except for you. It's like it's your initiative. It's like you go to school, and maybe this is about education. You go to school, you learn what you're supposed to learn, and you graduate, and then you go and you get the job, and it's fine. But nobody is going to pluck you out of that school. And I guess maybe it does happen with recruiters and things like this, but it's kind of like if you don't take the initiative, nothing's going to happen for you. Nothing's going to just drop into your lap. Okay. So this might be, not so much you rejecting knowledge or wisdom or education, but you being very intentional about what you're learning. You being very intentional about your sacred sort of traditions, okay, and what you choose. So I think we run into that rebellion energy here, where it's kind of feeling like whatever the Hierophant represents, I got to do the opposite. Well, that's fine when we're kids. We'll end up doing the exact opposite of whatever the institution is around us, right? But that's kind of, eventually we have to grow out of that sort of rebellion. This isn't about rebellion, it's about conscious choice. And sometimes, having the conscious choice is going to allow us to say, I don't just need to do the exact opposite of the Hierophant, because then guess what? The Hierophant's still in control. The Hierophant moves over here, and I've got to go the exact opposite. Hierophant moves here, and I'm like this. I think that's pretty opposite. Or it's here and it's here. Or it's here and it's here. And so we're just still reacting. We're still being controlled by the Hierophant rather than choosing intentionally what I want to participate in and what I don't. And the Hierophant representing teachings and wisdom and a sort of a moral code or a standard or a building code. The Hierophant is that institution that tells you how you're supposed to build your house. Standards of quality, like the building code and stuff. When you're building a house, you got to get the permits. The building inspector has to come and tell you whether you did it right, And that's the Hierophant. And so I feel like for you, this is about you returning to your core values and saying, am I living by my core values? Of course, core values is the Ace of Cups. Are you living by your own heart here? Okay. You're intentionally studying things that feed your soul. You're intentionally seeking out podcasts, YouTube videos, your favorite tarot reader on YouTube. You're seeking out things intentionally that are going to feed your soul and not just like, letting the algorithm sort of pick for you, letting just kind of mindlessly whatever it wants to show me is what it's going to show me. No, you're curating it. You're tailoring it. It's like you're going to the library. You're not just like telling the librarian who doesn't know you at all and saying, pick a book for me. Here, read this, No, we're going in there and we're saying, what do I want? What am I hungry for? What do I want to feed my soul with? I love libraries. I would live in a library. I think in another life I ran a library or something, because I just love being in the library. Like I literally just want to live there. And going into a library is so amazing because it's like everything in here I could feed my soul with. I feel the same way about going to the buffet for food, because everything in here I could feed my soul with. And then it's just like I get to decide what I want to sit down and and nourish myself with. And literally not anything, not infinitely anything, but with the internet, yeah, it is pretty much infinite, right? You can feed your soul with anything you want. Anything at all. You have to do so intentionally. Because the world or your friends or the algorithm or, your whatever, it will feed you stuff, whether you want it or not. So this is about that kind of nourishment. And I feel like maybe in your life you've been revisiting some of these old beliefs or old traditions. You've really been working out what you believe and what you feel. You've been working out your values and your beliefs. And I feel like someone around you, maybe a Taurus person, they've been giving you advice that you didn't ask for. They've been trying to tell you how to live your life or what you should do, or like, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. But at the same token, I feel like they're also telling you that, like, you're too closed off, I don't know you. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. If you don't know me, how do you know what I should be doing? So both of these, they're contradicting themselves. And actually, it may be an air sign person. Okay, maybe. But it feels like there's a contradiction. It feels like somebody's trying to instruct you about how you should be living your life, and it feels very righteous, because, of course, the Hierophant is like the Pope of the old tarot packs, and kind of was telling everybody how to live their life, but it's like, if you live in a glass house, you shouldn't throw stones, right? But also, at the same token, they're kind of telling you that you're closed off, that you're a Cancer, you're a Chariot, you're a Crab, you got your shell around you and they can't find your soft, gooey center. And so then how do they know what you should be doing? How do they know what is good for you if they don't know you? It's like the librarian saying, here, you should read this. It's like, I've never met you before. How do you know what I should read? Well, because they're talking from their own agenda. The librarian likes that book and they want everybody to read it. So of course they're going to recommend that to you. It has nothing to do with you. It's their own promotion of their own agenda. And I think that's what's happening in your life right now. And you're, of course, seeing it, you're recognizing it, and you're pushing back. Yeah. And so there's the shift. And I think you're not asking for advice except from your own soul. And you're aligning your choices now with what feels sacred to you. Not what something else or someone else is feeding you. Here, you should read this, you should do that, or do this, or do that. They don't know you like you know you. All right? So what's the wise choice for you now, I think that you are someone who appreciates tradition. I think that you like antique stuff. You like thrift stores and antique shops, and you like classics and that sort of thing. Classic books, classic movies, and you don't like them just because they're classics. Okay, but I think you have an appreciation for the way things used to be, and the quality that you feel like was inherent in things the way they were, and not so much in the way things are now. So you're realigning with your inner Hierophant. You're letting your own soul kind of set the tone. You're releasing things that don't fit you. And you're getting out of some kind of a paradigm or a system or an institution that doesn't work for you. Anyway, enough about our Hierophant. I think we get the picture. Let's move on. We've got more cards to talk about, don't we? But the rest of the cards are quite simple. Because they're, of course, the major arcana cards are the most complex of the cards, and it takes a lifetime to understand the Hierophant even. You can literally spend 50 years just studying the Hierophant and meditating upon the Hierophant and having a conversation with the Hierophant, and we will still feel like there's an infinite depth to the card that we don't understand. Same with all of the major arcana cards. But the small cards are fairly simple. The Seven of Swords. So much noise in your life that you're having a difficult time figuring out what you want, what you believe, what you think and feel, and your path, your direction in life. This is thought that's scattered because of this other energy that's telling you, here, you should read this. And it's like, okay, stop telling me, stop giving me unsolicited advice, because I'm trying to listen to my soul here. I'm trying to hear the signal, but there's too much noise. Okay, we're trying to be honest. We're trying to listen to that truth within us. But there's distraction. Okay? This is an inner noise. There are too many voices. You hear the voice of your parents. You should do this. Voice of the librarian. Here, read this one. The voice of your significant other. The voice of your, I don't know, your CPA, your accountant, your boss, your coworkers, your friends, your family, the internet, me, other tarot channels, podcasts, the radio, TV commercials, the voice at the gas station when you're trying to pump gas, trying to sell you the hot dog and the fountain drink. So much noise in the world. We're trying to hone in. We're trying to get that clarity about what we truly want and what we truly believe. It's kind of like, it's like you walk into a store, you got $100. Yeah, I'm going to spend some money. I don't need everybody rushing at me saying, here, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. You need this, you need this, you need this. Well, of course, that's their job. They're trying to sell you something. But you've got that $100 and you say, I know I'm going to buy something, but can y'all shut up so I can figure out what I want to buy? I don't need all the flashing lights and all of the advertisements. I want to just kind of feel it in my soul, like, what am I hungry for? What do I want to buy? What do I need today? Some towels? A new book? Do I need some underwear? Do I need a TV? Like, what am I going to buy? It's kind of this, Black Friday vibe. It's like, yeah, I'm going to spend money, and everybody wants it. So, it's like that with your attention too. It's like that with your consciousness. There are vampires out there, And I think that you're trying to be very discerning about where you give your energy. Yeah. So you're trying to, you're trying to quiet down this noise a little bit, because this is some distraction. But what we see behind here is the Ace of Swords, and that is the clarity. This is the Ace of Swords right here in the middle of this card, and it's really, this is what it is. In the silence, when you mentally can transcend the noise, look at that card, all that yellow, the jagged, angular, fractal, sharp, air energy, the geometric chaos that's right there. That represents all of the noise in the mind. All of the Swords cards have a lot of jagged edges. You see that? All of these angles and just kind of random, jagged, sharp, fractal, geometric shapes in there. Literally all of the Swords cards have it, because that is the noise of the mind. That is the distraction and the chaos. It's just like, I'm trying to think of one thing, and there are all these other voices. I'm trying to figure out one path. I'm trying to find meaning in my life, and there are all these other little, like, explosive, almost invasive thoughts that are bombarding us. But the Ace here has transcended the noise of the mind. That's why the tip of the sword is in outer space. It has penetrated that noisy mind, and is just a little bit has penetrated into the silence. In outer space is totally silent, because there's no air. There's no medium through which noise can be transmitted, conducted. And I used to wonder about that, because I'd watch these sci-fi shows and there'd be big explosions in outer space and you hear these big kabooms, and I'd be like, if something explodes in outer space, does it make a noise? It's like, when a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Yeah. But does an explosion in space, if a tree falls in outer space, does it make a sound? No, because it's not rippling out in any kind of medium, that we call sound. It's not moving anything by its, the pressure is not changing, because there's no atmosphere in space, right? And that's kind of what it's like in the Ace of Swords here, that just part of your consciousness for a brief moment has penetrated beyond the noise of the mind and has reached the silence of outer space, where you can receive the cosmic rays. You can receive the cosmic consciousness, that spiritual download coming in that's telling you who you are and why you're here and what will feed your soul. I can't tell you that. Your best friend can't tell you that. Nobody can tell you that. People can give you advice, Advice is like armpits. Opinions are like armpits, You know how that goes. And so we'll get a lot of people that try to tell us what we ought to do. Ask anybody. Everybody has an opinion. You can ask your doctor, they'll have an opinion. Ask your lawyer, ask your accountant, ask your best friend, ask your mom, ask your sister, ask anybody. And they'll have an opinion about what's best for you. And ask me my opinion, I'll tell you. But I'm telling you from my own point of view and my own perspective, and maybe I'm telling you what's best for me or what's worked for me. I could tell you what I'm investing my time, effort, energy, money, and space in. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Okay? So you have to start taking advice with a grain of salt. Yeah. Maybe this is a whole bowl full of salt that you're taking everything with a whole bowl full of salt. Yeah. But this is that sort of divine download. So I feel like you are getting that clarity. You're getting a sharp moment of clarity that's going to cut through all that noise. Okay? A truth that's breaking through. It may have already broken through. Okay? And if it has, name it. Bring it into your life. Invite it down into your mind. Use very precise language. Make a clean decision. Instead of weighing options, instead of trying to wrestle, make a decision for yourself. Trust your mind when it's calm, though. Okay? Calm your mind down. Get to the silence of outer space. And allow the divine light to enter in through the crown chakra here. It's that divine download, the cosmic rays coming in, the cosmic consciousness. And start the plan. Okay? Name the truth, and then write the plan. And maybe this is more about questioning something too, right? Questioning a belief. Questioning for yourself, asking the question when the Hierophant is here, telling you what you ought to do. You ought to do this, you ought to do that. I hate that word. I feel like this is you questioning that. Questioning a belief or an opinion and asking, is that mine or did I inherit that? Is that my opinion or somebody else's? And when you say something out loud, why did I just say that? Is that me? Or am I just echoing something that I heard or a mannerism, or an affect or something that has been sort of projected onto me? You grow here. You grow when you dare to see clearly. Even when sometimes the truth is going to complicate your comfort. Clear thinking is your superpower right now. Okay? And clear feeling. You have a very clear mind and a very pure heart. Don't let it succumb to that noise. Okay? That is, there's this, and again, there's kind of there's the best version of yourself with the Chariot, and then there's a little bit of that insecurity. I think you know what you believe, but I think sometimes you have a difficult time kind of like standing up for what you believe. But you're doing that now. You're doing that now. Even though at times you can be insecure, where you know what your Ace of Swords truth is, but sometimes there are doubts, sometimes there's self-criticism, self-consciousness, insecurity. Sometimes there are too many opinions from other people, too many voices in your head. But right now you're standing up for what you believe. And so I think this is extraordinary. I think you really have got a really, really wonderful opportunity here to step through that noise and really, really advocate for yourself and trust in what you believe and trust in how you feel. The Ace of Cups here is your value, your core value. This is your heart. This is what your heart really feels. We're being honest about this. You have a clarity of mind and a purity of heart because you're overcoming your insecurity. This is emotional renewal. This is love. This is truth and love, peace and love. And this may be that you're saying, it's time to start this new chapter. This feels like a renewal. It feels like it's a new feeling or like a new chapter that we're ready to begin. This is, again, peace and love, truth and harmony and resonance. This is mental clarity and emotional purity. And we're ready to begin this, which means we're getting out of this. Okay? And this is a moment of clarity and purity. And you're saying yes to whatever this is. This is that, maybe the connection or the activity or the practice or the tradition or the path that feels genuinely sacred to you and nourishing to your soul. Okay? This isn't anybody else's opinions. Now, the thing about the Hierophant, again, we don't just want to rebel. We're not going to just do the polar opposite of like your parents tell you, oh, you should be a lawyer or something, right? And then you do the polar opposite. You just become what's the opposite of a lawyer? I don't know, like a criminal, right? I'm going to do the exact opposite. No. You're saying, okay, well, yeah, maybe I will be a lawyer. But if I do, it's because I know that that's what my soul is hungry for. If somebody says, oh, you should really try the beef broccoli, then our rebellious thing will say, no, then I'm not going to eat the beef broccoli. I'm never going to eat beef broccoli again just because you told me to. Well, that's nonsense, right? We'll say, maybe I will. If I do, it's because I'm hungry for it, not because you told me to do it, right? And I feel like that's the vibe anyway. And eventually it's not going to even matter the advice that other people give you, because you know how to kind of like, you know where to put other people's advice. You know, there's a special filing cabinet for a special filing cabinet for memos from corporate, right? And it's the wastebasket, the garbage can. And so I feel like eventually that's not going to even be an issue here. But this is you doing the thing. Okay? This is you starting or restarting maybe a spiritual or a creative practice that's going to fill your cup. This is you getting back to doing something that feeds your soul and nourishes your heart and your mind. You're doing something on purpose. You know, you're choosing something because you want it, because you find it to be sacred. You're giving yourself permission to feel what you feel and believe what you believe and value what you value. I feel like this is a lot of joy and a lot of inspiration is going to just start pouring in. Okay. But we've got to go through that 10 of Swords, which means that we have to escape from this sort of birdcage or this paradigm that we've been in. And the 10 of Swords is an ending. It's a collapse. It's a release of something, okay? Where we're sort of, mentally anyway, we're done with something. Mentally, we're recognizing, we have the sun in Gemini, we have clarity about something that doesn't nourish us. This is a dry and desiccated thing. This is a meaningless, a pointless card. All the points of those swords are chipped and broken. It's pointless. It's meaningless. I don't find any value here. It's a dry hole. It's a desiccated thing. There's nothing for me to eat. There's no meat on the bones, nothing for me to nourish myself on. And so moving forward, I think that you're able to I don't know if you're leaving something more complex, like if it's a whole tradition or if it's a whole like custom or like some kind of a culture type of thing that you're literally like dropping, or if it's kind of like a particular relationship, or if it's a particular vibe or a belief or a system that you've been part of, where you're finally waking up and realizing that it doesn't feed your soul. That book that the librarian gave you, you're able to say, thank you, no thank you. Okay? And it's not out of a rebellious nature. You're not just moving away from this because you're trying to do the polar opposite. But I think it's because you know that that's not what there's no value in that for me. Okay? But we don't want to preemptively feel that way either, right? When the librarian says, here, you should read this book, we don't want to just say, no. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get anything, because that's very prejudiced too, right? We have that kind of bias already that says, oh, if anybody's telling me what I should do, I'm just going to immediately say no. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I'll check it out. And I think that you have that ability now to hold something and to look at it and to think about it and to feel it and to trust yourself that, like, you'll read the cover, you'll read a few pages, and, maybe you'll say, well, I'll try, I'll give it a shot. And that doesn't mean that you're conforming. It doesn't mean that you've just like acquiesced to the librarian's will. I think that it shows maturity. And if it's something that's not for you, you can give it back and say, that's not my vibe right now. That's not what I'm hungry for. Someone says, you should try the beef broccoli. Okay. And then you'll check in with self. And you'll say, yeah, you know what? I'm not feeling beef broccoli today. I'm going to go do the Kung Pao or something, Or maybe you'd say, yeah, you know what? That's really good advice. Let me do that. But I feel like specifically for you, you are moving through something right now that you've determined doesn't nourish your soul. Okay? So we're getting out of this bird cage. And we're putting something down that is not feeding us any longer. This is the end of a chapter. And I think that this is, this is clearing space for something that is really true and really authentic. There are some beliefs, right, that are maybe kind of collapsing, falling apart. They're not supporting you anymore. They're not nourishing your soul any longer. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It's a great way to support the channel, and subscribing is totally free. And I really do appreciate that. Okay. Your general energy is the Four of Wands. We're ready for a cycle to end. We're ready for some sort of completion. It's kind of like saying, I'm very happy to be done with that old chapter because it wasn't nourishing my soul anymore. So we're happy to get off that merry-go-round. It's kind of like, why would we be on a merry-go-round going round and round and round and round if I'm not having any fun anymore? It's like, I can get off of the merry-go-round whenever I want. I don't have to stay here until somebody says, hey, you got to get off now. No, I can say, hey, let me off of this dang thing. Next time it stops, I'm jumping off, So I feel like there's a phase of your life that's being completed. And maybe this is you completing your education. Maybe this is you kind of getting to the end of a particular, kind of like a spiritual evolution, kind of reaching a milestone. It's kind of what I'm feeling here. It's a milestone energy. And it may be literally like a celebration that you're free of something. You're wrapping up something that isn't nourishing to you anymore. Okay. And this card is kind of your, it's Venus in Aries, right? And so we have this Aries connection with the Mars and Aries Two of Wands, right? And this is kind of the card of redecorating. I like this card because it's kind of, it's us saying that I don't have to decorate my life in a way that doesn't resonate with me anymore. This is kind of the card that's saying, I don't like the way things look. I want to change it. This isn't feeding me anymore. Maybe it's literally like your surrounding, your environment. It's not nourishing me anymore. I look around the room and I don't feel like it's feeding my soul, like the art on the walls, right? So we're tearing it down and we're going to put our own art on the walls. I feel like this is somebody that says, well, you should, maybe it's even about how we look, right? That's even worse. Oh, you should wear this. You would look really good in that. I think this is you saying, I want to feel how I feel. I want to look how I want to look. I want to be the one to make those decisions, Even if, maybe the other person's right and we like some of the clothes. You want that kind of autonomy. You want that sovereignty. So Venus in Aries is you having that passionate desire to create, to take the initiative to make your life look how you want it to look. To pursue the life that's going to feed your soul. Yeah. And you're taking the initiative to do that. And so it's It's not like, this is how my house looks because this is what the magazine said it should look like. No. You're going to decorate it how you want it to look. So let me know in the comments where you're redecorating your life. Whether it's with the food you eat, the music you listen to, or like, the clothes that you wear, how you dress, or if it's the things you read, the things you pursue, the things that you like on the internet, or whatever it is. It can be all sorts of things. I feel like there's something about music here with you. I kind of feel like you've got a very different taste in music. And I think there are people around you that maybe try to tell you, oh, you should really listen to this. Why do you listen to that? And it may not even be that they're giving you advice. It may be that you feel like they're criticizing you. Oh, you like 21 Pilots? Oh, gosh, I don't know how anyone could like that music. Maybe I'm interjecting a little bit of my own personal story here. But I feel like this card is about you saying, no, you know what? I like what I like. You have your own taste, your own aesthetics. And I don't feel like you're justifying that. I don't feel like you're defending that. I feel like you're just saying, hey, I like what I like. I'm going to go do my thing. I'm going to do it my way. I don't have to like what you like if I'm not feeling it. Maybe you don't like beef broccoli. Maybe you just want to listen to 21 Pilots and you want everyone to leave you alone. I get that, okay? And we have that Chariot here. This is your will. This is your fortification and fortitude. You've got your armor on, okay? And, you know what lane you want to be in. And I think it's a victory here when you feel like you're able to express yourself through your own directed motion. You're driving the car. You've got your hand upon the wheel and you're driving the car. Okay, so you have this sovereignty. You are asserting your identity in a way that feels like it resonates with your soul, with your heart and mind. So it may be the way you dress, it may be the music you listen to, even if you feel like you can hear other people criticizing you or you're worried about what other people think, you're learning to not care what other people think. Yeah. You're acting like you're the driver of your life now, not the passenger. So I think other people's opinions are going right into that special filing cabinet. Yeah. And with the Prince of Swords in the position of the obstacle or the fear and the worry, I kind of wonder if this is like you feel that once you start doing things your way and expressing yourself in that authentic way and moving with sovereignty and with authority and with your own personal aesthetics and your own taste, I wonder if it kind of is like you feel like the world's going to push back. You feel like you're kind of going to be tested a little bit. Because the Prince of Swords is a very fixed air energy. It's kind of a card that's asking, like, once you form an opinion of your own, how easily do you change opinions? What does it take for somebody to convince you that you're wrong? And this is that fixed, rigid air energy saying, I believe in something, and nobody is going to convince me to conform to their opinion. So we got to be careful with this too, because then we're going to be so we're going to grip a belief so firmly that even when there's other evidence, just as a matter of principle, I'm going to stick with what I believe, No matter what happens, I'm going to believe what I believe because I'm so stubborn in that way. We've got to be flexible. We've got to be able to change our minds about things when new evidence comes in. But we don't want to be so flimsy, right, that anybody can say, oh, no, you're wrong, my way's the right way, and we just say, okay. You know what I mean? So we need this card right now. And I think right now you have to stick to your beliefs and values, and don't let anybody come in and try to convince you otherwise. Yeah, at least for right now. And I think what you're going to find is, in a way, stylistic freedom. The Princess of Wands here is very courageous, dancing with the tiger, really just kind of like out there, having fun, living life, doesn't care what other people think, doesn't care what other people say, is out there dancing in the middle of the street, doesn't care who's watching. You're out on the dance floor, it doesn't matter. You know, you're trying, you're living your own way. You're your own spark. And this is you being your own creative, expressive person, or if it's about relationships, socials, your own spirituality. You're expressing yourself with color and style and flair and drama, you know? And you're allowing yourself to play and to explore and to experiment to figure out what you truly love. And you're going to notice what makes you say, hey, well, I want more of that. Because I know what isn't going to nourish me. Now I'm having fun figuring out what does. You're discovering your real passions and your real tastes because you don't care what other people think. You know? We're not just going to stay quiet. You're exploring. You're exploring yourself. You're exploring life. You know? And you're feeling more excited about life, and you're feeling free, and there's just some kind of a liberation here where you get to pursue those things in life that you want. And it's not the rebellion against the Hierophant. This is just you not caring about the Hierophant. I don't care what their opinion is. I want to do what I want. If it's beef broccoli, fine. If it's 21 Pilots, fine. You know, but because it feeds your soul. Because it feels good to you and you want to do it. And on the alternative, you're not going to not do something because you're worried about, oh, other people are going to think I'm weird if I choose the rice noodles or something, right? It doesn't matter what other people think. So this is a very liberating energy. I want to look at the mystery card. I want the Empress. Kind of feel like it's going to be more fire, though, for some reason. If you have a prediction, please put it in the comments. Now let's take a look. Oh, the 7. Yeah, of course it's the 7 of Cups, because this is like, these are all of those potential fruits, right? All the things that we could really be interested in. And so with the 7 of Cups, we have to be careful too, because this can be distractions. These can be kind of that rebellion again, right? But I feel like this is you looking at everything that life has to offer you and choosing what you want to eat. 7 and 7. Ace and Ace. The mental and emotional noise. The mental and emotional clarity. So in a world of infinite opinions, you're recognizing your own. In a world of infinite cravings or infinite objects of desire, right? Of infinite things to want, you're deciding what it is that you want. So you're asking, what is really going to nourish me? And what is going to be just another dry hole? So you're looking at everything the world has to offer, and you're saying, what's going to satisfy my soul? What do I really want up here in this big wall of prizes? What am I going after? And the same thing with the opinions or the path or the facts or the beliefs or the way of life or whatever you want to associate that with, the other opinions, right? So the beliefs and values, there's a whole smorgasbord of them out there. And you're figuring out what you want to pursue and what you want. And what you're hungry for in any given moment. This isn't about just one moment in time and then you choose your life. Every moment of every day, there's a buffet out there. And you've got to make choices that resonate with you. That's all. Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, click on the link in the corner. There's also a link in the video description. Cancer, I'd like for you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. And let me know if you like 21 Pilots. And I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we're all in this together.